The start of February is filled with tension as the Sun squares Uranus and Venus squares Mars between February 3rd and 4th. The latter one happens on the 4th and can inspire or instigate some conflict, some irritations, bring up issues between masculine and feminine energies within you or in your life, and overall just be unpleasant. Luckily, Venus is in a stronger position, so there's definitely hope. I'm here to give you some tips on how to best handle this transit and break it down for all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive astrology. If you'd like to work with me, there are links down below. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe, leave me a like or a comment. It helps my channel grow. It encourages me to bring more videos, and it just makes me happy. I really like reading your comments. If you'd like to work with me further and you like my insights and you'd like them to be personalized, you can subscribe to get monthly horoscopes on my website. There's links down there as well. And I am creating candles and oils that have magical properties. You might wonder, how can the candle or an oil have a magical property? Well, let me tell you. You know how in astrology, natal chart represents you and it describes you, right? Like, and if you have Venus in Taurus, you can be really gifted creatively, for example. So similarly, you can choose moments, right? You can choose moments in which you make an item that carries the properties of that transit. So for example, I've created items for Venus in Libra, wonderful for relationships, Mercury in Virgo, really great for concentration, Jupiter in Pisces, which is one of my personal favorites because Jupiter will not be in Pisces for the next 11 years, which is really good for like optimism, spirituality, hopefulness. And in January, I just made candles and oils for Saturn in Aquarius. And Saturn is about to leave Aquarius and not come back for the next 30 years. So this is a very unique opportunity that I captured, and Saturn was conjoining Venus, so Venus has a bit of a softening effect on the stern Saturn. So check out my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com, and you can pick up an item that can help your personal needs. So this opposition goes square. This square between Venus, the planet of love and beauty and accord, and Mars, the planet of self and personal drives and desires, is exact at 10:28 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, February 4th. So it's interesting because this is leading us into the full moon. So there's like a lot of tensions, a lot of kind of confrontations between masculine and feminine energies. It is happening at 11 degrees, Gemini and Pisces. So felt the most, you will feel it the strongest if you have planets between 8 and 14 degrees of the mutable signs: Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces. What can we expect, right? Relationship tests, for sure. In general, I think like Venus is in overcoming position of the square, meaning she has the upper hand. So we will find a way to compromise, but there's still going to be like Venus in Pisces is so imaginative and so spiritual, and she's just flying high in her own world. And Mars in Gemini could just be like very chaotic, very kind of like throwing things all over the place. Like, quite literally it could be like you're painting or you're doing something fun, and your boyfriend just keeps like bursting in and telling you a piece of information, running away, or they're throwing their stuff everywhere and you cannot find any of your things. So definitely some type of relational friction, being receptive for Venus versus being more aggressive for Mars, being more self-contained versus like outwardly outgoing. It could be a test. It could show the cracks in a relationship, especially a relationship is in need of work, but it can also be the moment, it could be some tension that actually produces fire, right? So if a relationship is healthy, it can lead to like a passionate sex, right? It could be like wonderful. I don't know why I said it with that like X in it. If yeah, like, and even, you know, even creatively, like maybe your partner bursts in on you while you're painting and you're just kind of going through the motions, but maybe something they say sparks an insight in you, or maybe it's literally the fact that you need to put a lock on your door, right? You never know. Like I said, Venus has the overcoming position, so like peace ends up winning. Could be a really lovely opportunity to release the tension. Like if you've been feeling frustrated with your partner and you haven't been saying anything, this could be the time in which you just let it out. And like I said, luckily Venus has the upper hand, so hopefully you're able to express your frustration in a sensitive way. Be careful of saying things that might frustrate your partner and hurt them, because that's actually what Mars might be. Like someone might say something to you and maybe you feel like, you know, you've been so understanding and so generous and so giving. So yeah, just like don't watch out for like self-sacrifice, and watch out for coming on to like aggressively or too self-driven, to be like too self-driven. Like I said, you can express these tensions through working on something like physical labor, working in the garden, going for a run, exercising, making love, creative work, dance, there's like tension, and like from tension I think a lot of time comes out like something exciting and unique and unusual, so you can experience breakthroughs. And let's take a quick look at all the 12 rising signs to see what this might mean for you. I use rising signs because rising sign is the starting point of your chart, but you can also listen for your sun or your moon and take what resonates, leave what doesn't. So for Aries rising, Mars in the 3rd house squares Venus in the 12th house. And there might be some tensions between you and your siblings, you and your neighbors. I wonder with Venus in the 12th house, maybe you've been too kind of like selfless with a roommate or a neighbor or even like a friend, and this shows up as like a heated exchange where you, I think with Venus in the 12th house, can definitely see how you are sabotaging yourself or how you are standing in your own way. There might also be a sense that your schedule just has been too busy and too overwhelming with Mars in the 3rd house. Like Mars has been in your 3rd house since late August. So if you're an Aries rising and you felt like you cannot get a break and you just really want a break, let me know. Raise your hand in the comments below. But I do think this could be like a peak or some kind of resolution. Maybe like you get frustrated and you book a vacation and you say, to hell with it, I'm just gonna like take some time off. So that could be a way this shows up. If you're a Taurus rising, Mars in the 2nd house squares Venus in the 11th. I can see this as friendship drama, right? Venus in the 11th wants to have a good time, wants everyone to get along, wants people to like, you know, wants to create beauty in the environment or on social media or just go to a concert. And Mars in the 2nd can create like issues around money, where maybe you are planning all these things but your friends are not being as like supportive. There might be maybe conflicts surrounding values in relationships and in friendships where you disagree on the things that actually matter. And yeah, and like some kind of like financial drama and tension that maybe affect your dreams and hopes and plans for the future. Venus is in the overcoming position, so it seems like these tensions around money and values can be resolved and you can be on your way. For Gemini rising, Mars in the 1st house squares Venus in the 10th house. And here we're dealing with personal actions and personal pursuits and personal agenda versus professional balance and harmony, or just like the outward balance and harmony and your status in the world. Because Venus in the 10th would really like try extra hard to for everyone to get along. There might be a desire to be like pleasant, creative, eloquent, beautiful, but Mars in the first house, it might even be like that you are the one who is messing with things. Like maybe you're saying something that is rubbing people off the wrong way, or there's tension between all the things you're trying to pursue and all the commitments you have otherwise. So be careful, watch out for drama in the workplace, watch out for overextending yourself and like putting strains on your health potentially, and try as much as you can to take it easy. For Cancer rising, Mars in the 12th house is going to square Venus in the 9th house. And this feels like all about your beliefs, all about your ideals and your guiding principles and your morals. Mars in the 12th house can be revealing how you are. You know, like Venus in the 9th, I think, would really want to accomplish something connected to like travel and education and learn new things or meet foreigners and work with other people. But Mars in the 12th house could be a sign of like maybe you're being too critical or you're being too tough on yourself, and somehow you are sabotaging yourself. Somehow you are putting more pressure on yourself. So this Mars square Venus could be a sign of like needing to chill or needing to let something go in order to have more peace of mind. If you are a Leo rising, Mars in the 11th house is going to square your Venus in the 8th house, and somehow your desire to pay off a debt, work with other people, collaborate with other people, maybe at odds with your final goal, with your dream, or there might be some tensions with friendships, with, you know, like Mars in the 11th is very much a sign of like fighting it out with friends or fighting it out for something, for your friends. So you may see some drama, you know, even I can see issue of like you're trying to spend time with your partner, you're trying to plan some kind of romantic evening, but then like your friends are being too demanding or your friendships are being too dramatic, and you need to compromise somehow. If you are a Virgo rising, Mars in the 10th is going to square Venus in the 7th. So this is very much a conflict between Venus in the 7th wants to date, wants to have harmony, wants everyone to get along, wants to have like a good time, but Mars in the 10th is saying that your work is being too demanding, or there's someone at work who is taking your attention away from your romance, or even your professional pursuits can be somehow contradictory to your romantic pursuits. So here you need to find like a good balance, and maybe it's about prioritizing things and saying, today I'm going on a date, but tomorrow I'm going to dedicate the evening to my job because I need to catch up. There might also be like a sense of your romantic desires contradicting your professional desires. For example, you have a job or you're applying for a job that will take you away from your home, and you're dating someone in your hometown who's very attached to the town. So needing to kind of navigate those complicated territories could be here as well. If you are a Libra rising, Mars in your 9th house squares Venus in the 6th house. And here is somehow tensions and your pursuits that deal with education and travel and writing and legal matters may affect your health or your overall well-being. So watch out for overextending yourself. Watch out, like, you know, make sure that you're like going to sleep on time. Make sure you're not making yourself too available to if there is a pressure on your schedule and too many people are like demanding your attention, make sure that you're putting up better boundaries, because Mars in the 9th house can definitely create a sense of like drama and conflict, and maybe like a lot of action that involves teachers, students, being a teacher, dealing with travel, and that can somehow be counterproductive or like destructive for you, like frustrating for you. If you are a Scorpio rising, Mars in the 8th house squares Venus in the 5th. And I feel like this is a misunderstanding, conflict, a challenge, disagreement you may go through with your romantic partner that can be connected to money, how they spend money, how you spend money, how your different values, and somehow potentially even connected to children. Like maybe they want children yesterday and you don't feel ready. You feel like you need to save enough money, and like maybe they spend all the money. So like needing to balance carefully. And also like even having Mars in the 8th could mean that you're like saying things that are frustrating to you and expressing them, and Venus is in the 5th, just wants to have fun and enjoy herself. So sometimes in order to bring better balance in a relationship and to have more fun, you really need to address those things that you may not want to address. So don't shy away from tough conversations. Instead, embrace honesty, intimacy, and vulnerability, or I guess intimacy that comes from being vulnerable, because relationships are not games or who wins, who loses, who has more power, who doesn't. They are about trust and taking risk and being vulnerable. If you are a Sagittarius rising, Mars in the 7th house squares Venus in the 4th house. And there might be tensions in your romantic relationship connected to your living situation, to your partner's family dynamic, and potentially your plans for where you see yourself living, right? Mars in the 7th, Mars has been in your 7th house for a long time. So if you're a Sag rising, tell me, have you felt the stresses Mars put on your relationships, or did you instead get an opportunity to kind of clear out the air and get closer with your partner? Because there's always two possibilities. So I think now Mars in the 7th is affecting your peace of mind a little bit. And like I said, there could be a need to figure out, where do you see yourself living? What do you see your relationship with family being? And just sort of like, how can you come together and resolve those problems? Venus is in the overcoming position of the square, so you can find compromise and you can resolve the issue. If you are a Capricorn rising, Mars in the 6th house squares Venus in the 3rd house. Venus in the 3rd wants to write, wants to chat with friends and neighbors, wants to get along and come up with new exciting ideas. But Mars in the 6th is saying that there are certain health matters, there are certain matters connected to pets, work situations that demand your attention, and they create frustration because you cannot quite enjoy, or you cannot quite be the master of your domain as much as you would like. I think the answer here is like careful time management, perhaps, especially like Mars is happy in the 6th house, right? So you do get more firepower when it comes to problem solving, but perhaps you've been solving way too many problems and it just feels like all you want is some like peace and quiet. So ask for that peace and quiet. Write a schedule, assign some time to relax, and try to kind of, you don't have to juggle all of the balls. You can set some of them down and try to streamline things. For Aqua rising, Mars in the 5th house squares Venus in the 2nd, or rather Venus in the 2nd squares Mars in the 5th. And here you're dealing with potentially some kind of competition or relationship drama, or conflict with your partner that affects money. So maybe you and your partner disagree about the proper way of spending money. Maybe you felt like you wanted to save on something and make a big purchase. But Mars in the 5th house could also be like the fact that your child needs more spending, and like your child, you need to spend money on like their kindergarten or something. So there might be like tension connected to that, or even like tension connected to what fun is in your relationship. Perhaps you have a different understanding of what fun is, and you need to figure out what it is, because for one of you it might be staying home, for another one it might be going out and partying and spending some money. So like figuring out what do you value and how you can meet in the middle, I think, is significant here. Last but not least, if you are a Pisces rising, Venus in the 1st is going to square Mars in the 4th house. Venus in the 1st gives you right now a lot of charm, a lot of eloquence, a lot of kind of magnetic power, manifestation power, but it squares Mars in the 4th house and says that your living situation, your family situation, or even your like neighbors can potentially be frustrating right now. Like as much as you're trying to keep your calm, they may come like really close to throwing you off balance. And it's funny because my neighbor is a Pisces rising, and we have like a crazy person in our building. And you know, it already happened like last time Venus was squaring Mars that he almost lost his cool. So hopefully, you know, this time around it works out like nothing. Nobody gets, I mean, last time nobody got injured, so hopefully this time it's also just like a bit of frustration. But yeah, like you may be dealing with some kind of situation around your property, around your home, where you are not getting to just like chill. You know, you have to address it. So feeling frustrated is likely, but because Venus is in the overcoming position, I think you're still able to figure things out and restore balance and restore peace. So there's definitely hope to this transit, but like I said, the beginning of the month has a bit of a frustrating energy, not like anything we haven't dealt with before. You know, we deal with these transits, they circle us, or we circle them on this rock called Earth every year. And we already had Venus square Mars in September of 2022. So you can also, it wasn't the exact same energy, it was like different. Venus was in Virgo at the time, but you can look back at that period of time and see what was happening in your life and how you can learn from it and do things differently this time around. But try to stay patient, try to stay flexible, and remember that this too shall pass. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.